Greetings, my name is Reagan Reed, and this is my lesson plan project for ITEC 7430. To start off, I placed my lesson plan project on my class website under the Virtual Learning Assignment menu page. This allows my students to work on the project in and outside of classroom. It's basically broken down online into 12 steps, which can be covered in 6 days. To start, I tell the kids the name of the project, which is called Through My Eyes, and I tell them the materials they'll need: a Chromebook, internet access, and of course the skill set that they've acquired over the semester. Step one, they're completing an online journal. It's a reflection that asks them to take a moment to review the articles or authors or historical figures that we've learned about this academic school year, and to choose one to complete a project on. And if they need a reminder, here's a class reading list, which basically gives them all of our short stories, novels, poems, articles and speeches, different things like that. Next, the students have to create a KWO chart using Word Online or Google Documents and tell me what they know and what they want to learn about their person. In step three, I explain to them the actual assignment, which is to create a chronological timeline of their person's life. And they start off, of course, with birth and they end at the present or the person's time of death. Some things they can include are the early life, important events, influential factors that contribute to the success, the legacy left behind, and why they may be famous. And number four, we talk about the objective, which is to present the individual through their eyes, which means they have to do a lot of research and basically become an expert on that person. And number five, they are selecting their presentation software. Now, here's a disclaimer. The way that I could do this actual assignment was because the students did not need any tutoring or tutorials from it. They were very familiar and proficient with the software. In fact, I took a poll. I asked them to tell me their top three software programs, and they told me Adobe Spark, Google Tour Builder, and Sway. So I created a rubric for each one, which breaks down the scoring criteria. So here's the one on Adobe Spark. There's another one for Google Tour Builder, and here's one for Sway. And now that the actual standards and expectations and scoring criteria has been given to the students, I kind of give them some models for the type of projects that they can do. Now, here's one I created on Dr. Martin Luther King, and I know that you can't per se hear the volume, on my computer, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. All right, moving on, there's Google Tour Builder. Oh, excuse me. Here's the one on Google Tour Builder. This is on Jackie Robinson. And then there's the Sway on Raw Doll. And again, the kids are familiar with the slides and transitions and how to add features and all their information. So this was just, again, showing them the examples of the presentation software at hand. Now that they have their individual, they're familiar with the scoring criteria and the type of software they'll use to present it. The students use a class document to basically put in their product description and share their link to it. And this allows me to monitor their work and make sure they're on task and even kind of troubleshoot and give them some help if needed. In step number seven, the students are researching, and this is on day two and day three. And at the end of day three, I'm expecting them to have a rough draft completed because when we get to day four, I need for the students to create a poll and they can use forms, whether it's Microsoft Forms or Google Forms. And I need them to title the actual form Through My Eyes. And it's going to basically be six questions. The first five questions are choice questions, which basically ask, according to the project's rubric, how would you score like my content, accuracy, organization, the writing conventions I use, or my sources. And then, of course, the choices are the same that's on the rubric. Below expectations, approaching expectations, meeting expectations, or exceeding the expectations. And then in step number six, I want them to actually score a classmate's work and explain why that person was given that answer. Of course, I want positive praise and constructive criticism. And the students, typically spend a lot of time adding, themes and pictures and thank you messages and all that good stuff. But most importantly, I want them to take to heart that peer evaluation. What changes, are you thinking about making, or what evaluations did you really take to heart? Because they have an entire peer group that they're working with, and so they have at least four to do, depending on the class. Some classes have two, some have three. In reflection number 84, ask the kids to think about the peer evaluation feedback they received, if they agree or disagree with it, and if they're making revisions of which ones. And afterwards, they spend their day 5 kind of finalizing their project. When they come to day 6, I ask the kids to complete that last portion of the KWO chart, which is to basically tell me what they actually learned from the process. Once they finish that, they'll share it with me, and they'll place that information on the class Google Doc. So at that point in time, I now have access to their KWO chart where I can evaluate and measure where they started and where they finished, and also have access to their project. In the end, I asked the kids to kind of like give me a little bit of feedback, like tell me what I did well on this project, how I can improve it, what I can do differently, if they have any unanswered questions and ways that I can improve. And then after that, I'll leave them with additional extra credit opportunity. If they want to, gain additional academic enrichment, they can do a project on a spouse of their or significant other of their subject. And that's about it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching.